Welcome back, Great Cove Life Science students. Thank you very much again for meeting once again. And I'm sure we are still going on and explaining about the endocrine system. We are still talking about homeostasis. Today, I want you to understand that we are holding and explaining on the balancing of carbon dioxide and water in the body. So I've got some notes that I've just pasted also here on the body, which are going to be quite relevant in terms of the explanation and uh, the scientific explanations of the two uh, systems that we are going to talk about. Two homeostatic control processes, carbon dioxide and water. So here now you can see it is about the balancing of carbon dioxide in the body. And then I want you to see that basically carbon dioxide and pH are two concepts that we cannot just override. And I'm sure from your previous grades, you have also understood that carbon dioxide, when it dissolves in water or dissolves in any given liquid, it increases the pH. I mean, it decreases the pH, causes acidic conditions to be high. And then we also want to talk about the balancing of water in terms of the ADH and how does it work in terms of the permeability of the collecting tubules and so forth. So I have got conditions of dehydration and overhydration, which we are going to be which I'm going to be explaining again in this presentation. In the flow diagrams that I'm attaching here, basically they help you to understand and relate uh, the narratives of either of the two processes that we talked about. So one of these is that when water levels has decreased, what do we experience or what does the body go through? And also when water levels has decreased. So the two systems is that we have got the permeability of the collecting ducts that we are going to talk about under the concept of the osmotic pressure gradient, which I'm sure that is gonna be so interesting as we go with our discussion today. So please just be patient and follow the presentation. You shall see that it's quite nice and interesting. Without wasting any time, what is carbon dioxide, or how does carbon dioxide concentration and water balance maintained in the body? So carbon dioxide levels in the blood affect the pH of the blood, which can actually have an effect on metabolic processes. So when carbon dioxide levels is too high, it affects the pH. Actually, the level of carbon dioxide in the body affects the pH of the blood. So when the levels are low, it actually causes acidic conditions, which are also not good in terms of the functioning of various enzymes and also other life processes that we might want to talk about. So carbon dioxide, it is quite clear to us that carbon dioxide it's an anti-product of cellular respiration, which is actually resulting in formation of carbonic acid if it dissolves in water. I'm sure I remember at grade 11 there are some experiments that you were doing or which you did about testing for carbon dioxide, if carbon dioxide is produced during cellular respiration. So still I'm just relating all that to this uh carbon dioxide, I mean the cellular respiration process, the summation of the cellular respiration process. Glucose plus oxygen is equals to carbon dioxide plus water plus ATP energy. So carbon dioxide, basically, it is an end product of what? It is an end product of cellular respiration. As you can see here, we are saying it is equals to carbon dioxide plus water plus what? Plus energy. So the more carbon dioxide there is in the blood, the more acidic the blood becomes. So the more the carbon dioxide is in the blood, the more the blood becomes acidic. So this changes the pH and actually would affect the enzymes functioning, which I mentioned in the beginning there. So it destroys the shape of it can destroy the shape of the enzymes. It can also deactivate some of the enzymes because we are saying these are, remember to say that they are also protein nature. So acidic conditions might also have a negative effect in terms of the uh, operational requirements of enzymes. So acidic conditions actually affect the functioning of enzymes. So I have attached this diagram here, which is giving a flow sequence in terms of the negative feedback of carbon dioxide levels in the blood. So starting from number one that is given here, we have got a stimulus that we have the stimulus there. So now what happens is that the stimulus in we are talking about any condition or effect that might cause increase in carbon dioxide. So now what happens is that increased blood carbon dioxide levels decreases the pH and decrease the oxygen levels. That is number one. It decreases the pH and also decrease carbon dioxide, oxygen availability. So low oxygen in the body, it affects entirely the living and the functioning of cells. So remember that the body cells are are living cells, and their survival requires oxygen. So when pH is increased, it decreases what? It decreases uh, the oxygen levels, which in a way would affect uh, the functioning or other life processes that are very essential in the body. So receptors, what do they do? They identify the low pH by the chemoreceptors that we are talking about. So the chemoreceptors, they will identify that the pH has gone down, and then a message is sent to the control center, which actually is through impulses to medulla oblongata. I've been talking about this severally. The medulla oblongata, we are saying why do impulses have to go to medulla oblongata? Because it's the breathing center. It affects the breathing functions of the body. It affects gaseous exchange. So messages, impulses are sent to the medulla oblongata, and then in that case, an effector muscle or the effector organs, which is the respiratory muscles, the diaphragm, and the intercostals muscles, they increase the depth and rate of breathing, which is number three, here, class, that you are seeing number three there. So the diaphragm and intercostal muscles, they actually increase the rate and depth of breathing, which would also affect the muscles. At the end, we are seeing increase in heart rate. It is an efficiency, or it is a performance that is taking place in order to in order to increase oxygen intake in the body. Oxygen must be increased because we said the pH has gone down. So when the pH has increased, which has decreased, which has also caused a decrease in oxygen. So because the body has got low oxygen, the medulla oblongata is agitated or is stimulated to affect the respiratory muscles, the diaphragm, as well as the intercostal muscles to increase in the rate and depth of breathing, such that more oxygen is taken in and also uh, carbon dioxide is taken out. That is because of an increase in breathing or heart rate. The heart rate, it is actually causing a quick flow, a quick circulation in the blood of the blood. So therefore, oxygen is refurbished to the entire body organs. So a response number five, a response which is heart increases, more carbon dioxide is removed. So when carbon dioxide is removed, we are saying removed from the body, which is number five here. We are saying more carbon dioxide is removed from the body. So when that happens, we are actually to achieve a uh, negative feedback in which blood carbon dioxide levels must fall, pH must increase, therefore return to normal. And then we have got a negative feedback mechanism in terms of the balancing of carbon dioxide in the body. So this flow diagram class is actually a narrative of the coordination in terms of carbon dioxide balancing in the body. So please just understand. But anyway, there are some narratives that I've put again through notes here, where high concentration of carbon dioxide, lead to formation of carbonic acid, which I mentioned at the beginning there. So as a result, the pH of the blood drops and it becomes more acidic. This is just an explanation attached to the diagram that I've been explaining now. So when pH decreases, it also causes more acidic conditions. So the chemoreceptors in the carotid artery are stimulated by the drop in pH. So a drop in pH can cause the arteries in the uh, carotid artery to actually uh, identify the drop in pH, and then impulses are sent to the medulla oblongata that we talked about. So there is also another question that you need to understand, to say, I mentioned it already there, that why medulla oblongata, we said, is the brain part that is responsible for vital body functions such as breathing and gaseous exchange. So breathing and heart muscles are targeted. Breathing and heart muscles are targeted in order to ensure that more oxygen is taken in as well as carbon dioxide out. So diaphragm and intercostal muscles contract, increasing the rate and depth of breathing, which we are saying that the depth of breathing is actually there to balance carbon dioxide versus what? Versus oxygen. The carbon dioxide oxygen levels must be balanced. So more carbon dioxide must come out as well as more oxygen entering. So therefore, heart rate increases in terms of the circulation system, to increase the circulation system of the blood, to increase the circulation system of the blood class. That is why heart rate increases. So more carbon dioxide moves to the lungs to be exhaled, to be taken out. Therefore, blood carbon dioxide levels returns to normal. So in this case, when heart rate increases, more carbon dioxide moves to the lungs, such that it can be breathed out in order for us to have blood carbon dioxide levels returning to normal. And at that stage, we are talking about maintenance of homeostasis. So that is it about carbon dioxide balance in the body. So negative feedback in the control of water balance. I'm sure this is another concept which class you must not also forget: osmoregulation. Osmoregulation is a negative mechanism that actually works to strike a balance in terms of the balancing of water in the body. So the maintenance of the water balance is very important to ensure that our bodily metabolism continues. So in this case, I am sure that we need to understand the essence and the importance of water in the body. Water is actually a dissolving substance. It is actually a medium of transportation. It is actually performing multiple functions in the body, which are very vital for life. So homeostatic control of water and salt levels in blood and tissue fluid is carried out in a negative system that we call osmoregulation. So a control of what? Of water, it is also, and salt, which I'm sure you remember that salt, it is there to affect the osmotic gradient or the osmotic pressure gradient. So that is one thing that we need to understand. So classy, please take note of this, to say that the negative feedback of water balance in the body, it is actually called osmoregulation. The word osmo meaning to say that it is actually the movement of water from their higher concentration uh, level to low concentration. Therefore, it is are also through a semi-permeable membrane, which is created by the presence of the salts. So negative feedback control of water levels, it is and the tissue fluid. I'm also saying there is now on the board here a flow diagram that I also attached in terms of the water levels decreasing when we are talking about dehydration. When we have got to talk about dehydration, what happens? So I'm saying water levels decreases, so we can say this is one, and then the pituitary gland secretes what? The pituitary gland class. Which gland is responsible for the balancing of water in the body? It is the pituitary gland. How? By providing or secreting ADH. So that is two. ADH is secreted when water levels decreases. So what happens at next stage? Number three, we are saying that the permeability of the collecting ducts and distal convoluted tubules increases is in terms of what the ability of water to be assimilated or to be absorbed. So the permeability of the collecting ducts and the distal convoluted tubules increases such that more water is reabsorbed into the bloodstream. It actually causes an increase in the reabsorption of water in the bloodstream. So when that happens, we are coming back to number 5, which is responsible for what? Water level coming back to normal. So I want us to look at this to say dehydration, when the level of water in the blood and tissue fluids is low, that's what we mean by dehydration. A lower serious level of water in the body, we call that dehydration. It can be because of exercises. It can be because of exercises and then hot temperatures. I'm sure I remember the issue of loss of water through the skin, through the sweating pores, which is as a result of sweating. And also we can talk about increased sweating again, which is also a straightforward point on each, and decreased water uptake. When people take less water, it also results in dehydration because the water would have been used for various life functions. So low levels of water in the blood and tissue fluid is detected by the receptor cells, the osmoreceptors. The osmoreceptors in the hypothalamus of the brain, they actually identify low levels of water in the blood and tissue fluid, so that impulses are sent to the pituitary gland and the antidiuretic hormone is released. So what happens is that the pituitary gland is activated. It is activated to secrete what? Activated release, to release what? ADH. It is activated to release ADH. So the hormone is transported in the blood to the receptor organ, which is what? Which is the kidney. And the permeability of the collecting ducts and what? And the distal convoluted tubules, actually, it increases. You understand? It increases. So what happens again is that more water is reabsorbed and passed into the blood because of an increase in the permeability of the tubules. So therefore, blood becomes more diluted and concentrated. Urine is excreted. So when people are releasing very concentrated urine, it is an indication. Which class you must also understand that it is actually caused because of what? Because of the absorption of water in the body, and therefore urine is being released, is being so much concentrated. So we can as well want to look at the blue diagram, uh, which explains which explains overhydration. It explains it explains overhydration. Overhydration, when water level has increased above normal, so the pituitary gland stops secreting ADH or secrete less of ADH. ADH, we are saying it's antidiuretic. So therefore, we are saying the availability of water is reduced. So permeability of the collecting duct and the distal convoluted tubules decreases. So when does that decrease? It decreases when water level is high. So therefore, we don't need more. So less water is reabsorbed and uh, into the blood, more water is lost in that case. I guess you see sometimes situations we talk about uh, this what is it? Less water reabsorbed into the bloodstream and the loss of water from the body either through urine or other reasons. So the diagram it flows in the sequence as I'm giving here now to say that is how the sequence flows. That is how the sequence flows. So overhydration is when water levels in the blood and tissue is high. That is over. When water levels in the blood and tissue is becoming or has become so high. So maybe due to cooler temperatures can be the reason that can cause that. Little exercising can also be a reason for that. People are not exercising a lot with no sweating and an excessive up intake of water. When people drink too much water, we can also talk about an excess of water in the body. So water levels in the blood and tissue fluid becomes high. They become high water levels of water. Water levels in the blood and tissue fluid becomes high and it is detected by osmoregulators in the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus osmoregulators identifies that which impulses are sent to the pituitary gland. We are saying impulses are sent to the pituitary gland class, to the pituitary gland, and less antidiuretic hormone is released. I'm sure you can see it is a direct opposite of what we just said. So collecting ducts and distal are convoluted tubules in the kidney become less permeable and less water is reabsorbed. Less water is reabsorbed. Therefore, when less water is reabsorbed into the blood. So therefore, we are saying we don't need more water in the blood. So the collecting ducts are not gonna be uh, very permeable because we don't want to have that water in the blood. So more water is lost, dilute and more dilute urine is excreted. So in that case, class, we are talking about the balancing of water in the body, the balancing of water in the body, which is quite interesting and one of the key subjects that you must not just overwrite, but you need to prepare and get it read as much as you can. So thank you very much for having uh, this opportunity and time with me, and keep on following and sharing and liking, so therefore we can develop our channel. We are to make the journey of the academic race shorter by avoiding repeats, no failures, but we build our future with Metric Hub. Let it be so. Thank you very much and all the best in your upcoming examinations. Let's keep connected. More is coming and more is loading. We're gonna have more comprehensive revision work for every other piece of work that is behind. And have a beautiful stay with Metric Hub. Thank you very much. Bye.